In today's video, we are going to explore best Paramahansa Yogananda's quotes about awareness and consciousness. Let's get started. An experience in cosmic consciousness, the divine dispersion of rays poured from an eternal source, blazing into galaxies. I saw the creative beams condense into constellations, then resolve into sheets of transparent flame. Irradiating splendor issued from my nucleus to every part of the universal structure. Penetrate your consciousness through the star into the kingdom of the infinite. My guru's voice had a new note, soft, like distant music. That the explosive vibratory power in speech could be wisely directed to free one's life from difficulties, and thus operate without scar or rebuke. Stillness is the altar of spirit. A child is born on that day and at that hour when the celestial rays are in mathematical harmony with his individual karma. His horoscope is a challenging portrait, revealing his unalterable past and its probable future results. But the natal chart can be rightly interpreted only by men of intuitive wisdom. These are few. Gross man seldom or never realizes that his body is a kingdom, governed by Emperor Soul on the throne of the cranium, with subsidiary regents in the 6 spinal centers or spheres of consciousness. This theocracy extends over a throng of obedient subjects, 27,000 billion cells, endowed with sure if seemingly automatic intelligence by which they perform all duties of bodily growths, transformations, and dissolutions, and 50 million substratal thoughts, emotions, and variations of alternating phases in man's consciousness in an average life of 60 years. Man's conscious state is an awareness of body and breath. His subconscious state, active in sleep, is associated with his mental and temporary separation from body and breath. His superconscious state is a freedom from the delusion that existence depends on body and breath. God lives without breath. The soul made in his image becomes conscious of itself, for the first time, only during the breathless state, when the breath link between soul and body is severed by evolutionary karma. The abrupt transition called death ensues. The physical cells revert to their natural powerlessness. The cosmic director has written his own plays and assembled the tremendous casts for the pageant of the centuries. From the dark booth of eternity, he pours his creative beam through the films of successive ages, and the pictures are thrown on the screen of space. Just as the motion picture images appear to be real, but are only combinations of light and shade, so is the universal variety a delusive seeming. The planetary spheres, with their countless forms of life, are naught but figures in a cosmic motion picture, temporarily true to 5 sense perceptions, as the scenes are cast on the screen of man's consciousness by the infinite creative beam. The interpenetration of man's 3 bodies is expressed in many ways through his threefold nature, my great guru went on. In the wakeful state on earth, a human being is conscious more or less of his 3 vehicles. When he is sensuously intent on tasting, smelling, touching, listening, or seeing, he is working principally through his physical body. Visualizing or willing, he is working mainly through his astral body. His causal being finds expression when man is thinking or diving deep in introspection or meditation. The cosmical thoughts of genius come to the man who habitually contacts his causal body. In this sense, an individual may be classified broadly as a material man, an energetic man, or an intellectual man. A man identifies himself about 16 hours daily with his physical vehicle. Then he sleeps. If he dreams, he remains in his astral body, effortlessly creating any object, even as do the astral beings. If man's sleep be deep and dreamless, for several hours he is able to transfer his consciousness or sense of I-ness to the causal body. Such sleep is revivifying. A dreamer is contacting his astral and not his causal body. His sleep is not fully refreshing. The whole cosmos is a materialized thought of the Creator. This heavy, earthly clod floating in space is a dream of God. He made all things out of his consciousness, even as man, in his dream consciousness, reproduces and vivifies a creation with its creatures. In wakeful state on earth, a human being is conscious more or less of his three vehicles. When he is sensuously intent on tasting, smelling, touching, listening, or seeing, he is working principally through his physical body. Visualizing or willing, he is working mainly through his astral body. My guru, awake in God, knew this world to be nothing but an objectivized dream of the Creator. The masters who are able to materialize and dematerialize their bodies or any other object, and to move with the velocity of light, and to utilize the creative light rays in bringing into instant visibility any physical manifestation, have fulfilled the lawful condition. Their mass is infinite. What one does not trouble to find within will not be discovered by transporting the body hither and yon. As soon as the devotee is willing to go even to the ends of the earth for spiritual enlightenment, his guru appears nearby. The ills attributed to an anthropomorphic abstraction called society may be laid more realistically at the door of every man. Utopia must spring in the private bosom before it can flower into civic virtue. Inner reforms leading to outer ones. A man who has reformed himself will reform thousands. A master is able to employ his divine knowledge of light phenomena to project instantly into perceptible manifestation the ubiquitous light atoms. The master never counseled slavish belief. Words are only shells, he said. Win conviction of God's presence through your own joyous contact and meditation. The more deeply we perceive, the more striking becomes the evidence that a uniform plan links every form in manifold nature. As God is unanticipatory ever newness, we never tire of Him. Can we be surfeited with bliss, delightfully varied throughout eternity? By continuous meditation, he reaches the superior state of nirvikalpa samadhi, in which he may move freely in the world without any loss of God perception. Always remember that you belong to no one and no one belongs to you. Reflect that someday you will suddenly have to leave everything in this world, so make the acquaintanceship of God. Faith in God can produce any miracle except one passing an examination without study. God is simple, everything else is complex. Do not seek absolute values in the relative world of nature. God is the honey, organizations are the hives. Both are necessary. Any form is useless, of course, without the spirit. But why should you not start busy hives full of the spiritual nectar? I want to know, sir, when shall I find God? You have found him. Oh no, sir, I don't think so. My guru was smiling. I am sure you aren't expecting a venerable personage adorning a throne in some antiseptic corner of the cosmos. I see, however, that you are imagining that the possession of miraculous powers is knowledge of God. One might have the whole universe and find the Lord elusive still. Spiritual advancement is not measured by one's outward powers, but only by the depth of his bliss in meditation. Lahiri Mahasaya left this world shortly after I had entered it. His picture, in an ornate frame, always graced our family altar in the various cities to which Father was transferred by his office. Lahiri Mahasaya often said, "If you don't invite God to be your summer guest, he won't come in the winter of your life." Omnipresent wings. Like all other God-inspired prophets, Lahiri Mahasaya gave new hope to the outcasts and the downtrodden of society. Remember that you belong to no one and that no one belongs to you. Reflect that someday you will suddenly have to leave everything in this world, so make the acquaintance of God now, the Greek guru told his disciples. Prepare yourself for the coming astral journey of death by riding daily in a balloon of divine perception. Through delusion, you are perceiving yourself as a bundle of flesh and bones, which at best is a nest of troubles. Meditate unceasingly, that you quickly behold yourself as the infinite essence, free from every form of misery. Cease being a prisoner of the body. Using the secret key of Kriya, learn to escape into spirit. Ever new joy is God. He is inexhaustible. As you continue your meditations during the years, he will beguile you with an infinite ingenuity. Devotees like yourself who have found the way to God never dream of exchanging him for any other happiness. He is seductive beyond thought of competition. How quickly we weary of earthly pleasures. Seldom do men realize how often God heeds their prayers. He is not partial to a few, but listens to everyone who approaches him trustingly. His children should ever have implicit faith in the loving kindness of their omnipresent Father. The devotee's irrationality springs from 1,000 inexplicable demonstrations of God's instancy in trouble. To seek the Lord, one need not disfigure his face, he would remark. Remember that finding God will mean the funeral of all sorrows. I look forward optimistically to a healthy, happy world as soon as its children are taught the principles of simple and rational living. We must return to nature and nature's God. Not by the hair-splitting distinctions of scholars, but by the sure logic of faith, the childlike saint has solved the only problem in human life: establishment of unity with God. Our eagerness for worldly activity kills in us the sense of spiritual awe. We cannot comprehend the great life behind all names and forms, just because science brings home to us how we can use the powers of nature. This familiarity has bred a contempt for her ultimate secrets. Our relation with nature is one of practical business. We tease her, so to speak, to know how she can be used to serve our purposes. We make use of her energies, whose source yet remains unknown. In science, our relation with nature is one that exists between a man and his servant, or in a philosophical sense, she is like a captive in the witness box. We cross-examine her, challenge her, and minutely weigh her evidence in human scales which cannot measure her hidden values. On the other hand, when the self is in communion with a higher power, nature automatically obeys, without stress or strain, the will of man. This effortless command over nature is called miraculous by the uncomprehending materialist. Many a morning and evening found Mother and me meditating before an improvised shrine, offering flowers dipped in fragrant sandalwood paste. With frankincense and myrrh, as well as our united devotions, we honored the divinity which had found full expression in Lahiri Mahasaya. Proof that one is a master, however, is supplied only by the ability to enter at will the breathless state, sabikalp samadhi, and by the attainment of immutable bliss, nirvikalpa samadhi. The rishis have pointed out that solely by these achievements may a human being demonstrate that he has mastered Maya, the dualistic cosmic delusion. He alone may say from the depths of realization, Ekam Sat, only one exists. Your spine is your body battery. Keep it charged. A common stone locks within itself the secret of Stupangus atomic energy. Even so, a mortal is yet a powerhouse of divinity. If man be solely a body, its loss indeed ends his identity. But if prophets down the millennium spake with truth, man is essentially a soul, incorporeal and omnipresent. Please let us know your favorite quotes from these top Paramahansa Yogananda's Autobiography of a Yogi's quotes in the comments section. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.